Everybody loves a grandpa, right? This looks fine. This is a wholesome game about growing a grandpa because you miss your grandpa, right? Definitely. Yes, my progress is fine. I don't think I need a tutorial. I'm pretty sure it's just clean garbage. Grow grandpa. Grandpa. Because we love grandpa. I excused Adrienne during music class today and spoke with her about her recent string of demerits. It was our first time meeting outside of our quarterly evaluations, and I believe it went well. I can certainly understand Mrs. Richardson's classroom observations regarding Adrienne's emotional state. She was, of course, intensely shy when we first met. As I understand it, she's similarly withdrawn in her classroom activities and only speaks or acts when she absolutely must. Some things she simply will not do. Instead of participating in mandatory group activities, she will sit alone and accept that she will receive a demerit. Okay, but mood though. Mood though. Maybe the other kids suck. Have we considered that? I don't know. Before the meeting, I read Mrs. Richardson's parent-teacher report, which allowed me to estimate some about Adrienne's home life. The parents are well educated and come from a prestigious background, but they lack time to properly nurture Adrienne. She's often alone, and when she is not, the parents seem to not understand the importance of warmth and affirmation when dealing with someone so young. Having two parents of this reserved and icy temperament exacts an inhibition in a child. The child's imagination is subdued, but only obstinately, for it eventually finds its way into regular life. I surmised that I would be able to reach out to Adrienne by way of make-believe. How are you liking your new house? You've told me you used to live close by, but it can still be a big adjustment. A new room, a new school. The basement. I like that. The basement? Yeah. Well, there's a lot of cool stuff. Mom and Dad sent me down there. Your mom and dad made you go? Yeah, but there's lots of cool stuff. Well, that's not why they sent me down there, though. Why did they send you down there? Fighting. They were fighting. Shouting. I came in to help and they shouted at me. They said, "Go clean up downstairs." So I went. That sounds tough. Do they fight a lot? No, well, they. It's all right, Adrienne. Maybe you can tell me more about the basement instead. Okay, well, it was weird at first, the stuff down there, but cool. I found something living, sort of. That's very interesting, Adrienne. Please, tell me more. By indulging her in her fantasies and stories, I was able to glean more of an understanding of Adrienne's anxiety surrounding her home and parents. The symbols of Adrienne's story seem to carry their own traumatic weight, and her exploration of the basement may very well be a vehicle for the conveyance of her anxiety. Whatever might come of our next meeting, whether she will engage in similar make-believe, I will set down her story here. Adrienne's story begins with her delving into the basement with a trash receptacle and the goal of cleaning up. She discovered one of the walls was covered in plastic bags. She went to investigate, intent on tearing away whatever they covered. Got little sluggy mans. Oh, that's right. I gotta change my hands. Okay, now we got it. Ah, yeah, they're little sluggy mans. Was that glue? Maybe those little glue strands. Maybe I'm just so used to a life where I'm picking hot glue strands off like everything. I don't know. Upon removing the plastic trash bags from the wall, she noticed their interior lining was covered in glass. Like a window, I offered. No, she said, like a mirror. reflecting inward toward the animal they covered. I gently asked her what exactly this animal was. Here is where the material reality of the story took a turn for the explicitly fantastic and imaginary. Because what's more fantastic than a grandpa? Upon her discovery of it, at her gaze, it grew, or extended, its shaggy-haired self. Hair like the fur of a dog, I offered. No, she said. Not the fur of a dog, nor the hair on her head. It grew out toward her, the animal's hair, reaching out. It was hard, standing almost straight like the hair on a brush. A bristle, I offered. Yes, she said. She was afraid at first, but then very curious. I asked her what else was in the room. More things hidden away, she said. Things of Grandpa's as well. First, she found a hidden passage under the stairs. Inside were strange dolls, magic objects, naked, faceless figures. I heard these cryptic utterances and merely nodded. In order to keep the game of make-believe going, I only pressed for details where I thought necessary. The faceless dolls could be a simple metaphor for the anonymity she feels in her own home. The hidden passage, I am unsure what to make of that. Okay, similar story. So, for a brief moment of my life, my family was moving between Colorado and New Mexico. So for a little bit we lived in Raton, which is an absolute horseshit little town on a tiny mountain pass between the two states. And so the house we were renting was like really fucking weird. The main weirdness was the first one we found were like there were 3 bedrooms. And so between my bedroom and the bedroom for my sister, there was like a little like crawl space, like half door between the 2 closets. So you could kind of like shimmy between those, and that was kind of weird. And my room was upstairs, and so it had like a little connecting door into an attic space. And so like I would go play in this little attic space because I would like go in with my dolls and pretend it was a movie theater because, you know, nothing says completely non-neurodivergent child like sitting alone in an attic and pretending you're watching movies on a blank wall. Fucking Candle Cove shit. But aside from the Candle Cove shit, I'm recounting to my parents one day about how weird the house was and the weird little attic room connected to my bedroom, and they were like, "What the actual fuck are you talking about?" What do you mean, what the fuck am I talking about? Nobody knew? Nobody knew I was in this little room? How was I getting in there? How was I getting in there? How much fiberglass did I inhale? That's the ultimate question. I do remember the exposed fiberglass because, like, you're a kid. Pink Panther fiberglass is kind of funny. It got a cartoon cat on it. Yeah, so I don't know. I was apparently crawling into the attic and nobody knew I was in there. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, hidden passages, sometimes kids just be finding them. Alright, the revealing of the concealed seems to be thematic in her fantasy. The door under the stairs is but one example. You don't like being poked. We love you, Grandpa. Alright, in the trash pile. No trash pile for me today? Pulling down more hot glue strands. It's hard. You got a craft room. Everything gets covered in hot glue, whether you want it to or not. Once she removed the panel and found the magical hidden passage, she was very specific about what she took. She found a magic book, a magic doll, a photo of her late grandpa, and magic glue. A slouching doll. Its material is rough and coarse. Getting all the garbage, cleaning it up. Cleaning all the garbage up. Ooh! The glue. Yeah. Magic? Nah, girl. That's Elmer's. I will get to you nuts. I'm throwing away garbage. That's right. Not until next week. Papers crudely bound together to form a book. The impetus of this research was the recognition of a particular pattern in fragments of documents relating to magic and magico-religious practices. What about Grandpa's? Numerous sources were drawn from. Commentaries on laws relating to the banning of sorcery and necromancy, compilations of folk charms relating to love spells, hagiographs of saints and their encounters with devils. The list spans many centuries and a great distance, from the Levant to Khazar Khaganate to the border of modern nations of Russia and Kazakhstan today. From this paper trail arose a consistent account about a certain form of magic relating to the binding of demons to a sorcerer's will. A demon called the Heaven of Needles, or the Angel of Needles, was known to be kept best by shamanic keepers or wards who suffer from face blindness. Are you going to try? Whether by birth or through developmental causes like a stroke or head injury. It was known to be extremely effective but terribly dangerous, so much so that it became outlawed several times and was generally a popular scapegoat relating to unexpected death. The nexus of magico-religious meaning-making, sorcery regarding human-related desires, and the history and science of neurological disasters related to the fusiform gyrus is where the subject of this dissertation will reside. I will outline further and then analyze the historical sources I mentioned previously. Then, I will go into the neurology of mystic and magico-religious experiences. After that, I will detail my ongoing correspondence with a resident of the Ural Mountain region who is an expert folklorist and keeper of traditions he claims have been passed down through his extended family for generations. Mr. PhD, Grandpa. Good luck on your trip to the Urals. Stay warm. I needed the name of the mountain range for a crossword clue, so I'm like, yes, that's right. Urals. It's all, Russian mountain range. And I was like, shit. I'm an American. I cheated on so many geography tests. I was cribbing, like, entire maps of Africa. It was bad. It was bad, y'all. It was bad. I was doing, like, too good, and the teacher almost caught me, but I got away with it in the end. I think because he just liked me, because I was also in his, like, high school pre-law class. All right. We are clean. I interrupted to ask what she did with these magical, mysterious materials. Grow Grandpa, she explained plainly, and then, without missing a beat, she continued on with her story. The game is called Growing My Grandpa. She was here to grow a grandpa. Feeling this was a potent symbol, I stopped her again to ask what she meant. Somewhat puzzled, I did not understand immediately. She explained slowly. Is it not the best when kids do that? Whenever kids are like, no, the toilets are evil. That's why they're called skibbity. Okay, yeah. Just hit the gritty again for me. Thank you, kid. Grandpa lives in the cage in the other room. The cage behind the door. They grew people in the cage. Yeah, that's the one. A hastily written note. I have repeatedly called your homes to no avail, and so I am forced to leave this here for you all. I found William sitting in the corner of the enclosure area, seemingly severely concussed. Whiskers was gone. None of its usual hiding places. I immediately suspected the worst. The project thus must be suspended for now. I am leaving up the usual mirrored coverings we use to keep the anthropodic void sealed. I've done my best to lock up everything on such short notice. It is a hasty fix. It will require some time to find a more permanent remedy. I am honestly hoping you do not find this note, as I intend to lock the house down too. I intend to race off to you to retrieve your lockbox keys. Do not worry about William's key. It and the rest of his equipment is almost certainly deep within Whiskers now. I pray you do not enter this room. No matter how it may appear, William cannot be helped, and is only being kept alive as a means of continuing predation on the rest of us. This sign can't stop me. I can't read. I will say once again, no matter what state you may encounter William in, he cannot be helped. I have sympathy for the young man, I truly do, but I found on his person several photos of his late sister, which would imply certain risks he knew he was taking. Our extant research materials have now become possible liabilities, either criminal or professional in nature, so I've stashed them away. I believe I let you all know how I might do this if you were ever to experience an event such as this. I hope you all remember what I told you. So long, then. Dr. H. For the sake of university policy and the health of any future career you hope to have, you will abide by the non-disclosure contract you have signed. Do not break the anthropodic vacuum without my prior consultation and approval. Any anthropodic forms brought into the enclosure area must not be left unattended. When not in dormancy, the sample will attempt to take anthropodic shells. Please see shell notes for more on that. Oops. No, I wanted to read to you. Yeah, come back. Come back, Bodo. We'll read this one. Regarding growth cycles, every time Whiskers regenerates and leaves dormancy, it is to be logged as a new propagation. The sample's bodily existence cannot be illegible, i.e., a part cannot be cut from the whole, so there can only be one living propagation. Propagations are to be terminated after 5 weeks. Any further development puts us at risk. Termination procedures will be posted and followed with extreme care. With all that out of the way, I want to welcome you to the project. I look forward to working with you. Dr. Grandpa! Beyond the door, in the room, the cage was hidden, concealed in another cloak of inward-facing mirrors. A hidden cage lined with mirrors. It's strange, almost poetic, the elaborate fantasy of self-reflection, concealment, captivity. Eh. Eh. At the cage, she finally cast her spell. But it was confusing, she confided, at first. She took the magic doll, the magic glue, and the photo of her grandpa, and she combined them, and she wished very hard. I can only assume in this fantasy that next her wish could come true. In what child's story would it not? All right, we got Gramps. We got Slouchy Doll. And we got Old Elmer's. A tangible symbol of intention and desire. Damn. Get this girl on Etsy. She put Grandpa in the cage, assuming that was part of the ritual. She was not clear on how it worked. What precise instruction she could glean from her grandfather's magic book was complicated by her reading comprehension. She wished with all her heart And then she told me she waited a while for anything to happen. And after that time, she began to cry. I cried really hard, she said. I wanted Grandpa to be back. I wanted my parents to stop being so mean. And it hurt me. It heard me wish for Grandpa to come back, for my parents to be different. I could feel it through the walls, and it felt me through the air. I asked her what exactly she meant. She could only repeat what she said. By this time, lunch was almost over. I said goodbye to Adrienne, and she left to rejoin her class. I was left to consider our conversation. I believe the storytelling strategy I have employed was not unfruitful, but I must probe deeper if I can. Although I can be sure of nothing I interpret, the impressions I get may begin to help me get an idea of the right questions to ask. We can talk to Grandpa. Consider discussing this when Grandpa emerges. Grandpas are always emerging, crawling out of vents, hatching out cocoons. Typical Grandpa behavior. Yeah, Grandpa will molt, he'll come out of his shell. You gotta point at it. You go, hey, you gonna eat that? That's a lot of valuable calcium, Grandpa. If you don't eat that exoskeleton, how are you gonna grow an endoskeleton, Grandpa? Grandpa? I met with Adrienne in order to address her emotional outbursts in the past few weeks. It is our second time meeting, and while it is standard practice to have multiple sessions with a troubled student, as I assemble a report for the counseling department, I could not help but think, as we sat down in my office, that Adrienne already seemed to show a remarkable change in self-esteem and confidence. Perhaps my and Mrs. Richardson's estimation of her as emotionally disturbed was erroneous. The paralyzing shyness and withdrawn attitude Adrienne possessed last week was not entirely diminished, but she seemed to hold herself differently this week. However, this only lasted as long as our conversation pertained to initial introductory pleasantries. She's a polite girl. Be nice. When I began once again asking about her parents, her feelings regarding her new school and her new home, she quickly lost what new confidence she had gathered up and withdrew again into herself. So, once again, I partook in some collaborative make-believe, but this time I was aided by the fact that I managed to do some research into Adrienne's grandfather, and I had some insight into what she might actually be finding in the basement. Now, this may be overstepping my bounds. Some, as a cool counseling caseworker, but this was all in the service of making Adrienne comfortable and happy in this learning environment. It's a little fucked up to start stalking the kid. Little fucked up, counselor. In any case, I was able to dig up information regarding the grandfather by inquiring at the university in town. Not that I make it a habit of sleuthing, but I had a suspicion the grandfather was a professor there, or at least some sort of researcher, due to the fact that the newly constructed laboratory on the campus I drive by every day bears his name in memorial. Yeah, that's a good sign. He was some sort of anthropologist, or linguist, or neuroscientist. I did not have to dig that deep before the scope of his work became dizzying, and I ran up against the limits of my undergraduate education. But, back to the make-believe. What is your grandpa like? Is he a smart man? Not anymore, but I'm teaching him. So he's grown a good deal then? You've been feeding him well? Yeah, he is getting bigger, but he has a lot of room in his cage. He's still behind the bars. Yeah, well, he Might be able to climb out eventually. There's this vent in the ceiling. Is it Chekhov brand? Chekhov brand vent? Well, perhaps if he climbs out, I could meet him someday. Yeah, maybe. But he's not ready to leave. He can't take care of himself. I have to feed him, pick up after him. Ah, you store the food in your lunchbox. That's nice of you to share. That is nice. That's so nice of me, taking care of Gramps like that. He can almost talk. You cannot speak with him? He doesn't have a mouth, sort of. But how do you feed him? He has a mouth on the outside, on his shell, the stuff that is his skin. I'm a little confused. Maybe you can go through a typical day with your grandpa. Okay. I asked her to explain how exactly she goes about growing her grandpa, and Adrienne began another tale. According to Adrienne, in the week that had passed, much had changed in the basement. The hairy thing that was here before is gone. Little venti action for him, though. You should go see Grandpa first. Oh, that's true. Go say good morning to your Grandpa. It was scary at first, she said. The way he moved, the way the doll's skin covered him. I wanted to interject, but this somehow seemed inappropriate, and I kept listening. When I look at him, when I think about him, he grows and moves. It's like he's growing for me. So he's growing bigger now, I asked. Yes, she said. Bigger every day. Oh, look at old Gramps. You look good, Grandpa. This begins the actual growing part of growing your grandpa. Hey, Grandpa. Hi. Hi, Grandpa. We, an emotionally disturbed fifth grader, are in charge of its cognitive development and diet until it's able to sustain itself. We're observing Grandpa. Hi, Grandpa. You hungry, Gramps? Aw, I don't have any food, Gramps. I'm sorry. Here we see a variety of options regarding growing our grandpa. We gotta feed Grandpa twice, and we gotta talk to Grandpa twice. Some food will make Grandpa happy, others merely content. Some food will make Grandpa disgusted to the point of nausea. Go to Grandpa, we'll let you perform all the actions. Look for more buttons. The people love more buttons when it comes to old Gramps. We don't need these. Who are these people? The alphabet. Gross. Smells like school. Ugh. A set of procedures regarding disposal and internment. The researcher will seal off the enclosure bars, ensuring minimal gas leakage during the later fumigating process, and then retrieve the burn barrel and place it near the enclosure. Allow at least 48 hours of time where the current growth cycle experiences no human-related stimuli. Do not enter the enclosure area nor any part of the basement. Ideally, you will not be on the grounds at all. After 48 hours, 2 researchers will enter the basement wearing their assigned mirror mask, mirror apron, and powered air purifying respirator. The researcher will use the vent system to fumigate the enclosure area. Wait 30 minutes, then use the fan system to ventilate the enclosure. Keep the fans running through steps 3 and 4. Re-enter the enclosure area wearing your assigned mirror masks and aprons. The organism may or may not be in complete dormancy. If it is not in full dormancy, be assured that its capacity to act against you will be greatly diminished. With your assigned power drills, quickly remove any enclosure bars needed to access the organism. Put them aside for later reinstallation. Put the organism into the burn barrel. Incinerate the organism thoroughly. Wait for any smoke to be properly cleared by the fan system. Turn off the fans. One researcher will retrieve the nucleus from the ash and place it in the mirror box. The other researcher will sift through the ash and place any other substantial remains in the biohazard bin in the room outside the enclosure area. The bin is locked for safety purposes. Oh, that's right. I guess I should write the code down, huh? Let's get a little pipel. Oh. Ah. Put her down right here next to our very important Kellogg's Grain Flake notes. All right, the code is 323245. Researchers will fill out a termination form and leave it for Dr. Hart. More like Dr. Grandpa. Our good old Pep. Oh, we can talk to Gramps about the biohazard bin. Grandpa, do you have any parts left in there that you want back? Any parts you want back, Grandpa? Okay. Look at all this garbage. They don't want any of this anymore. Look at it. It's all crappy. All clean. I don't know. Some of this stuff looks edible. Grandpa might like this. An account of an acquisition. It was said to pass from one family of steppe people to another, but pressed on its ultimate origin. Somewhere to the south, coiled in a bowl covered in incantations, buried upside down by a graveyard, a common late antiquity demon trap. The keeper, an elderly man in failing health, was ready to expound on and on about the dangers of the organism, but when asked more pointed questions about the history of its acquisition, I was given curt responses that had a way of circling back to vague warnings. Nothing left in there. Next filing cabinet. Another mess. Grandpa, these researchers, they just got no sense. No sense of a nice living space. Keeping all these stupid papers around instead of being nice and tidy. Vocabulary card. Grandpa. It's a little weird to have taught it the word grandpa in the first place, on the part of the researchers. Getting all this out of here. So messy. Oh, more hot glue strands. Get out of here, hot glue. You remove the taped down fabric to reveal the cabinet's wooden bottom. A note regarding cleanup procedures. To my colleagues, I don't mean to be overly severe in tone, but Dr. Hart's work is very important, and the material we are working with is potentially very dangerous. I will be handing out a copy of this note as a reminder to everyone. I am not trying to single any particular person out. We all have misconceptions about the nature of this project from time to time. With that out of the way, here are some things to keep in mind. The active growth must be thoroughly terminated via the correct procedures at the very least 4 weeks after dormancy is interrupted. It doesn't matter what you've done or haven't done regarding tests or procedures or how much the anthropoidic vacuum has been disrupted. We are not ready to go beyond 4 weeks at this point. A step-by-step guide to termination has been posted by the enclosure wall. Please, 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 do not place the educational posters over this posting. Somebody did good there. Somebody said, proper disposal techniques, alphabet. Alphabet. He needs the alphabet. Do not disrupt the anthropoidic vacuum without Dr. Hart's prior consultation and approval. In case of any emergency where the vacuum is disturbed, put on your equipment and begin the lockdown procedure. Make an extensive note of when and how the breach occurred. If you find the habitat empty, page Dr. Hart immediately, but do not attempt to speak with anyone else. This thing can get very smart. I'm sure you're well aware from the stories we heard on our acquisition trip. The greatest caution should be used when dealing with a potentially aggressive mimicry scenario. Please seek me out if you have any more questions. Oh, William, you're the one who fucked it up! Look at you, writing this note, being all like, to whom it may concern. When it was you. It was you who was concerned. Research participants, please take note. Each growth from a cycle does not require a shell, but you may find the sample will often try and seize on something somewhat flexible it can grow into, along with any desirous yield it may generate, or else it will move from one shell to the next as it outgrows them. In the small amount of time I've spent with it in preparation, I have noticed it tends towards human forms. However, we should keep a tight lid on the anthropoidic seal in order to be cautious before we begin to experiment with exposing it long-term to anthropoid stimuli. That seems wise. Oh, I already did all three. Man. Got anything good? Boys. Eh. Oh, I want to play with the clip. Let me clip. No fun. Okay, we can go read the documents we missed before. Alright, ritual behavior with the sample, trading, bargaining, will result in dismissal from the project. The precise mechanism of the exchange of symbols and gifts required for a requested desirous yield is not known, and even then, anecdotal accounts of success are end in violent death. Yay! The sample's exposure to some of our neuronal activity is unavoidable. However, the speed at which its desirous yield is produced can be dampened by several precautions regarding libidinal and emotional urges. Keep conversation not related to lab work at a minimum. Do not treat the creature as your grandpa. Please. Except it is my grandpa, and I love him. If you begin to suspect you are developing attachments to your colleagues, contact me as soon as possible. I guess that's a good moment. There's an excuse to avoid any level of workplace conversations. Workplace infidelities. Oh yeah, that looks edible. Are we not going to ask how these things get down here? I get maybe she's sticking them down here. You know? Any batteries or anything? I wonder if it'll let me go search around. Yeah, you gotta let me clean up the trash pile. Eh. Give me that. Yay! We can go look at these in the study corner. We get to play with the X-ray viewer. Any other trash around? So much garbage. Like, are our parents throwing this down here? How's all this garbage getting down here? So much trash. Fiberglass. Grandpa might eat it, though. Grandpa loves eating fiberglass. I don't think there's more on the painting. You know, are our parents coming down here and like shoving their garbage in this cabinet drawer? And then being like, "Oh, go clean it up. Have fun." She just loves cleaning up the basement. Go shove more garbage in that cabinet. She'll go down there and pick it all up. It's like this is it. This is what all the cozy, satisfying games are aiming for is little spooky doll background. That's what I'm after in my cozy games. You know what? Before we began, he had us all cover our faces completely. An earthenware pot was, and on the inside, as we stole brief glances at it, we could see the interior was inlaid with mirrors. Gave it small pieces of dough, spoiled food, chicken feed, keeping it content. The keeper gestured towards the small bag where the food composted and told us to be careful not to feed it any meat. I asked if the rotting food was enough to sustain it, how it might get nutrients from any of this. The keeper regarded me seriously and said it did not matter what it was fed. The act of feeding itself is what mattered. The act of feeding flesh is another act, however. He then gave me another series of grave warnings regarding not keeping any animal-derived foods near it where I might be keeping it. Aww, we don't have the key yet. Safety. Make sure we covered him. Alright. Covered the trash pile. Oh, we love a bulbous growth. Pulsating. Every time I see a pulsating bulbous growth on my wall, I think, hell yeah! I'm gonna cut that open. Bet there's something cool in there. Corroded battery. Vocabulary card. Hello. Trash. The darkness of the shadowy corner unnerves you. You cannot explore here without some form of light. Can't even look at it. No. No, she's scary. No. Alright. That's not the button I wanted. That's the button I wanted. Hell yeah. Pow. Intriguing results with regard to the mimic hypothesis. A participant entered a steel chamber adjacent to Whiskers, which had been freed from the anthropoidic vacuum, constructed quite economically from plastic and broken mirrors. The first propagation's original earthenware vacuum was shattered during the move-in. Between the two, there was a semi-opaque glass panel that allowed observation both ways. The human participant was asked to think of someone in particular consciousness, fictional or no, and cogate on their voice. Image, personality, face if possible, voice if possible, etc. Our participant chose Jesus of Nazareth, and with weekly repeated exposures to the participants' imaginings, propagation number 21 began forming what resembled an anthropoid Nazarene in the folds of its spines. Previous human-oriented tests have always bore out a result that Whiskers would form an anthropoid team member, be it me or Dr. Hart or Gerald. We assumed it was merely mimicking one of us. Dr. Hart has always contended the desirous yield, or the anthropoid reproduction Whiskers creates when in contact with human beings, has always been based on the conception in relation to the person through someone else. With this framework, the desirous yield is not actually a replica of a person, or, if it is only a replica of the fiction of a person generated in the mind of another. The desirous yield was not Jesus Christ. What? But the participants' image of Jesus assembled from their religious upbringing, religious artwork, depictions in popular culture, etc. This radiograph was taken right before the destruction of the growth cycle while Whiskers was rendered unconscious via fumigation. It seems like with every successive propagation, the stem cells in the organism work a little faster. But I'm not paranoid. It's technically deathless, yes, but we're burning up whatever knowledge it's gained when we incinerate it. I don't believe in magic just yet. We have taken to calling it Whiskers, though of course some have interpreted it as hair or needles or quills, but Whiskers is more accurate as the needles are really more like suprasensory follicles or spines. The nerve nets distributed throughout the morphology of these spines resemble those of the genus Hydra, but have myelin sheaths that are functionally the same as vertebra. As we can see in the X-ray, each spine is laden with dense optical arrangements similar to compound eyes. The Hydra connection is assuredly worth investigating with regard to the organism's capacity for regeneration and anecdotal deathlessness. It's certain is a typo. Unplayable. Like, close. It's certain Lee is a robust enough creature to inspire marvel that is not untinged with fear. Exposure to mammalian forms, part of a series of zoomorphic influences, led to a further understanding of the propagation's ability to stimulate the somatic stem cells that constitute fully developed animals. I write simulate in the previous statement because examining the tissue of each propagation leads me to believe its amazing capacity for accelerated growth of vastly different forms comes from its cell-level mutability. And yet, at no time does it function as the thing it becomes except in the sense that it mimics it. That is to say, when Whiskers is removed from dormancy and replicates a rabbit's morphology, it is not seeing from the rabbit's eyes nor smelling from the rabbit's nose, but pretending that it does and doing a very good job of it. This radiograph was taken at or around growth cycle number 4. The strange thing about it was that the subject of the image was found nowhere near the enclosure. It's almost like a piece of Whiskers fell off and scurried into the corner. I feel like we've learned a lot since then, but at the same time, I remember speaking about the morphology being weird, not really even resembling any extant zoomorphic structure, besides maybe a cuttlefish. Then I happened to open the thing up. Inside were all these little dead amoeba-like things, but they all sort of looked like they had faces. Faces that were just barely there. After I took the radiograph, I gathered it up and went to go through it in the biohazard bin. As I walked by the bars of the enclosure, I could hear Whiskers suddenly going wild, flopping around and grunting excitedly. Could it have smelled the cuttlefish thing? Would it eat its own production? I guess it's technically flesh. This is beyond the scope of the project, but it could be that without the stimulus of an active brain, or, more specifically, a healthy and active brain capable of face recognition and theory of mind, Whiskers begins to pull whatever it can from the limited data available to it. Again, this is not our focus at this time, but I left a note for Dr. Hart just in case he wanted to take a look. Hell yeah. Grandpa's doing so good. Let's go to the corner and feed Grandpa something sweet. Like a banana and a battery. Ugh. Hell yeah. Grandpa, you're gonna love this. Hey, Grandpa. Yeah, let's hit the tutorials, because I do remember that the talking is kind of weird. Right, via induction of your unprotected insula. Grandpa has simulated the production of tooth enamel to mimic a human mouth. It will need to be fed through this in order to properly learn and grow. Oh, Grandpa. Nice food, bad food. Hover your hand above Grandpa's olfactory bulbs. If Grandpa is pleased, it will allow you to feed it. Yeah, just like my grandpa. You'll be like, Gramps, Gramps. Give it a little sniff sniff. Good luck feeding Grandpa. Hi, Grandpa. Grandpa, yeah? What do you think of that battery, Gramps? Although quickly consumed, the meal seems to be causing some indigestion. With a sudden lurch, Grandpa empties its stomach onto the floor. The contents pool together in front of the cage. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Gramps. How about some blueberries? There you go. The meal appears to have been sufficient. I think that's all the food I can give you. Alright, there you go, Grandpa. Oh, there we go. What's your barf up, Gramps? Still somewhat wet. Delightful. Thank you. Hey, I'm so concerned about, like, scrunched up paper, but I am simply going to leave Grandpa's vomit on the ground. Alright. Alright, Grandpa. Okay. Yes, yes, the Pentagon. Okay. Okay, let's roll. Let's teach Grandpa how to say hello. Oh, you're doing great, Grandpa. Deep within Grandpa's strange membranes, phonate confidently. Hello, part of Vocabulary and Vocalization Module A2, Conversational Basics. General pronunciation comments. Sloppy articulation. We're already encountering some difficulty as Whisker's subjectivity is so much determined by a diverse and dynamic array of influences. It attempts to mimic the thoughts and desires it passively intercepts, but these imitations go on to structure the bases of its identity. Only later in Whisker's growth cycle does it begin to form an identity, or identities, that are coherent and capable of resembling a sane, rational human being when engaged in conversation. One must imagine how hard it would be to converse with someone who is not yet orientated in one particular way towards who or how they are, because they might have 20 different honest answers to those questions, all of them mixed and muddled together. Because of this, we have started with the basics of conversation: greetings, partings, identifying one another, forming questions, etc., etc. It is fortunate Whisker's current growth, number 19, I believe, has developed a mostly accurate human mouth simulation. Hello was a bit of a challenge in the previous growth as it had failed to develop an adequate organ to act as a human tongue. That's true. I guess you need the la. Hello. So you do need a tongue to say hello. Step away from the bars and store the module card at the document table. Well, let's go see if we can use that key in the cabinet. Yes, I'm sorry. I won't look at the shadowy corner anymore. You try the safe's lock with the key you found, and it pops open. A photo of your mother as a young woman. The recognition of this face kicks off a cascade of emotion and meaning deep within your psyche. The only one I gotta look at? I only care about Mama. We didn't clean this trash pile up. We're missing out on important things. All clean. A simple paper doll. Ah. How spooky would it be if you just sort of found that in like your kid's pocket? Honey, why are you making little spooky dolls of us? Showing them to Grandpa in the basement. Grandpa, do you want to learn how to say Grandpa? Doing good, Grandpa. Come on. That's right, Grandpa! Grandpa, part of vocabulary and vocalization module E81. Family. General pronunciation comments. Usual trouble with articulation. Voice thin, raspy, possibly underdeveloped larynx. We've done several sessions what we are calling familial relation stimulation. I and a co-researcher sit in chairs opposite the enclosure. We are wearing the usual masks. And we begin to act out a scene, mostly through improvisation that might roughly resemble a kitchen table conversation between an immediate family. Repeated trials would reveal that although our simulated conversation was purposefully vague and unspecific regarding persons and identities, we would only address each other as brother, father, sister, etc., etc. It soon became apparent the encoded information and associations we unconsciously drawn upon when hearing and speaking these words was being picked up on by Whiskers and its psi-type field of reception/interpretation of brain-mind events, somatic content. My co-researcher William noticed this in a simulation where Whiskers was given a role as a sister and he as a brother. I was the father. Whiskers began responding to certain prompts with unusual specificity, as well as a general pattern and timbre of speech that continued with unusual consistency. As soon as the simulation ended and we left the enclosure area, William let me know that Whiskers was almost certainly drawing from encoded memories of his late sister. Mapping out exactly what regions and centers of neural activity are intercepted by the psi-type field will take extensive neuroimaging that we do not have at this site. Currently, we only have less precise portable equipment. However, our experiences so far are eerily in line with folk knowledge and folk explanations regarding the being's access to desires, and we can begin to infer it as access to certain portions of the limbic system and the ventral temporal cortex. Kid just like, cool. Temporal cortex. Hi, Grandpa. How you doing? The inner Grandpa, though still not fully formed, is revealed. It may be fruitful to speak with it, if it can respond. Hi, inner grandpa. How you doing? Mother. Ah. Will father. New lives out of the air. The air behind your eyes. I can taste it. Skin. My body. All human skin around me. Give more. Grow more. To fit. Just a little. Goodbye. You want this? You don't want this yet. Yet. Well, that's what we're doing with Grandpa this week. Not bad. Grandpa learned some words. Grandpa ate a battery. Oh, we can discuss language with Grandpa now. Mrs. Richards approached me the other day in order to remark on Adrienne's development. She noted how much more at ease she appeared when called upon in class or when asked to participate in group exercises. I told her I had seen this change happening as well, and that as much as I would like to take credit for it, I could only guess dimly at what might be reshaping her attitude. Mrs. Richards posited that it was perhaps Adrienne's family moving into their grandfather's property that caused the change. It apparently is out in the country, in a wooded area, full of wide open space and far from the bustle and noise of the city. I'll leave that all on. Oh, that's terrible. Get out of there. The grandfather, Dr. Jacob Hart, had jointly purchased the land with the university he was employed with and began construction of what he was intending to be a satellite campus for a burgeoning psychological anthropology program he had a hand in establishing. Only one building ever ended up being constructed after Dr. Hart died in a car accident when driving back from the property one day. Eerily, at almost the exact same time, a grad student who was assisting Dr. Hart on some sort of project at the property vanished without a trace. The property sat in disuse for years as it was tied up in legal battles between Dr. Hart's next of kin, the university, the vanished grad student's family, and the other students Dr. Hart was working with. Eventually, the case was settled out of court. Only recently did the property fall into the possession of Adrienne's mother. Obviously, I was not going to relay this whole tragic story to Adrienne, who, for all I know, believes her grandpa to still be living in the basement of his home. Besides, I thought, she might already know of all of this. Probably not the missing grad student thing. That's a lot to put on a kid there, ma'am. Perhaps the elaborate story she was constructing was her own way of escaping the morbid details of a life, or perhaps lives cut short by the cruel force of fate and the cynical adults who squabbled in the aftermath. I don't. Is it squabbling to go, hey, you killed my kid? He was in your research team and now he's fucking gone, and you're telling me why? I don't think that's squabbling, Miss Counselor. I determined perhaps the storytelling she was and continues to engage in should not be encouraged by me. At least, not in the way I went about it before, where I made active inquiries into her strange fantasy, a semi-sentient ball of skin. When I saw Adrienne, I did not bring up her grandpa, or ask questions about his growth. Adrienne could not stop talking about it, however. I had no choice but to weather her bizarre and enthusiastic effusions about her new best friend. Adrienne, maybe we can talk about something else. I'm not sure I'm following you exactly. It's my grandpa. He's gotten so big. He has so many whiskers that come out, and I can see them move around when I think about him. Uh-oh. I'm not sure what you mean. I'm so happy Grandpa is back. He's so much cooler than Mom and Dad. Once again, for what it's worth, I've put down the story she told me as best as I could. Adrienne once again told me about growing her grandpa. Hell yeah, she did. She gonna grow that grandpa so good. How's our growth doing? Yeah, bulbous. So much garbage. How are we so messy? Why are we so messy? Did anybody open the weird kid's lunchbox and find the chunk of fiberglass in there? Just a question. Just a question. Oh, I'm gonna put that in a kiwi for my grandpa to eat. Ha. Okay, anything going on down here yet? Nope. Anything new with the painting? Alright. Into the trash. Hell yeah. Potato! Grandpa loves a potato! Grandpa's always saying he's a steak and potatoes kind of guy. Grandpa, I brought you a potato. Slice of potato from basement ground. Teach Grandpa this word. Grandpa does love a word. Ooh, ah, 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 ooh. All clean. Grandpa, I'm doing so good cleaning up out here. Like, you got no idea. I am like the #1 at cleaning. Like, you keep stuffing these drawers with trash every day. That's every week. Once a week, I'm coming down here. I'm gonna clean the hell out of this place. I'm not gonna ask questions as to where all of these crumpled papers are coming from. I'm just gonna come down here. I'm gonna be like, booyah. Motherfucking cleaned. Nailed it. Nailed it. Why can I not take the wallet? Like, come on. You just not care about it? She's like, only Mom. Is there money in the wallet? I don't care. I already cleaned that trash pile. Did we already do this trash pile? Oh, no, we didn't. We got more cleaning. Boom. Is that another language card for Grandpa? I hope that's another spooky language card. We gotta talk to Grandpa about life. I'm gonna dig in for some of his Grandpa advice. We're gonna be like, Grandpa, what's it all about? Oh, damn, indecision. That's us. That's what we're gonna be like. We're gonna be like, Grandpa, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I just like coming down in the basement and digging around in the garbage. But my counselor keeps telling me that's not a career path. It's not a career path to go dig around in garbage. And I said, but I saw it. I saw it on the TV. I'm going to climb into the ring and start throwing garbage around everywhere. I'm going to be the trash man. The trash man. Oh, Grandpa, look at this pear. It's disgusting. You'll love it. A single strawberry? Also probably a little scuzzy? Come on, Grandpa. I got your potato and your fiberglass. Grandpa loves fiberglass. I mean potatoes. Grandpa loves it. Grandpa. Hi, Grandpa. May I hover some food over your olfactory bulbs? Yeah? There you go, Gramps. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, there you go. Oh, no. Fiberglass. Who put that fiberglass in there, Grandpa? I'll feed you in a hot minute, Grandpa. Don't worry. What you got? Oh, Grandpa, why'd you eat these scissors? Grandpa, no eating scissors. What did we say about that? We said no scissors. You're a meat and potatoes guy. The oily cavity. Eh. We love them. Oh, there we go. There's a goat. Hey. Yay! A self-sufficient animal form. Knit together from years of ambient thoughts left to crawl around the basement. Grandpa may enjoy the flesh. Meat and potatoes! I knew it! I knew that's what Grandpa was into. He's a meat and potatoes guy. Anything else down here? I think we're good. I think we got all the... Aw, little friends. Grandpa, tell me about your little friends. I cut them out of their tumor. Grandpa, I'm here to make bad choices. I'm here to make bad choices, Grandpa. Grandpa, I brought you meat. Oh, look at little Cilia. He's waving his cilia at me. That's so nice of Grandpa. Your offering of flesh stirs something within, Grandpa. From within the folds of his body, a wiry proboscis-like appendage begins to emerge. Maybe worth taking a look at this after the feeding. We can ask Grandpa about his proboscis. That seems rude. Grandpa, I think having a proboscis out is inappropriate. Here, have some gross lettuce too. Grandma says you have to have salad. Grandma said... Alright, let's teach Grandpa life and indecision. This is an easy one, Grandpa. Life. Close enough. Part of Vocabulary and Vocalization Module P29, Concept Formation. At week 3 of growth number 24, Whiskers appeared to recall some information from a previous growth cycle. We cannot be sure that this was really the case. For all we know, what we interpreted as it recollecting this information was really it drawing semantic content from one of our recollections of it and redeploying it without rationality or contextualization. For the sake of our safety and the sake of scientific inquiry, we are attempting to draw out from Whiskers whether it somehow retains knowledge from previous cycles in its morpholytic nucleus. Morpholytic? Morpholytic. We did not think it was possible the nucleus, though complex and incredible in its regenerative abilities, was capable of this, and that the nerve network that grew from it made up the base of Whiskers' mind. And so, we are now attempting to ask Whiskers, as best we can, if it has ever died, or what it might remember if it did. Bad news bears. Grandpa's proboscis is out! Grandpa, put that back! All right, Grandpa. You had a little bit of a hard time with life, so let's tackle something a little more brief. Indecision. Kind of pale red here on the mixed brown background. That can't be easy for the red-green colorblind amongst. Deep apologies for the colorblind who've ever played this. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you, Grandpa. No, you did good though, probably. You did great. You did good, Gramps. Part of Vocabulary and Vocalization Module F23, Theory of Mind. General pronunciation comments, articulation problems, possible trouble with diphthongs. Well, you know, when you got your proboscis out, it's hard to use diphthong. We are introducing the latest growth of Whiskers to more subtle social cues and testing its ability to judge mental states of participants in conversation. The semantic component that allows that flows the semantic content that flows to Whiskers via its psi field is still somewhat muddled and slipped without distinction into conversation, although our intention of instilling in it a solid theory of mind will perhaps make it begin to understand that we do not know what it knows, or know what we are, without our control, sending it. One would think a theory of mind seems to develop as part of its maturation process. In order to hunt sapient beings, it must be able to deceive them. In order to deceive, it must be able to make certain metacognitive judgments, for example, if their deception appears to be working, or how one ought to be deceived. We may never see it develop a theory of mind any time soon, as Dr. Hart has disallowed a cycle of Whiskers growth to live into the beginnings of maturity. Hi, Grandpa. Let's get all proboscis-y. You motion to Grandpa to approach and point to the thin protuberance. Grandpa silently ambles closer to the bars and fully extends it towards you. A minuscule needle extends from its tip. There appears to be one more thing you must give, if only for the sake of propriety. It's a good plan. It's a great plan. Grandpa has appreciated your blood offering. It will receive a symbol or totem from you now, although only one per offering. As the blood-fed proboscis retreats back into the folds of fabric, you step away from the bars. Well, geez, Grandpa, that was great. Here's a picture of my mother. Grandpa's spines quickly reach out and envelop the doll before drawing back. The doll quickly vanishes within the folds of Grandpa's skin. Constructing and then offering your mother's image to Grandpa, symbolically sated by blood, instills in you a concrete sense of completion. Grandpa gives a soft, affirming grunt as it senses deep within your mind the ritual transformation of your desire. Although Grandpa must receive both a mother and father totem before the fulfillment of your wish is assured. Thank you, Grandpa. Grandpa, you're the best. I love you, Grandpa. Grandpa's gonna make everything better. Maybe now I can go get the picture of my dad out of there. Can I have that yet? Gonna have to do it on another week. Gotta get into that shadowy corner. Shadows. Alright, Grandpa needs another piece of food. We'll have a conversation with Grandpa. And I guess we go to the next week. Here, Grandpa, have strawberry. It's a dessert. I like strawberries for dessert. So does Grandpa. Good job, Gramps. Look good. Grandma said don't forget your blood pressure medication. I don't think Grandpa's taking his medication. Explains a lot about this. Alright, Grandpa. No, can't talk to Gramps. You examine Grandpa. Oh, damn, I forgot to get Grandpa a kiwi. Guess I could give it to him anyway. Alright, Gramps. Grandpa, you got the scurvy. You got the scurvy, Grandpa. Well, guess we're giving it to you next time. Grandpa! The scurvy? Well, you said you were too full. Huh? That's not my fault, Grandpa. Couldn't even ask him about life. You feed Grandpa your own blood via his proboscis, and he won't even give you life lessons. The time I have to spend compiling an evaluation on Adrienne is almost up. I still can't say what to make of her changes in mood. It is of course the case that children of Adrienne's age are nowhere near finished learning and growing. I have to simply be happy that Adrienne was able to improve her attitude. However, something in the odd and occasionally grotesque stories she continues to make up still strike me as meaningful. If a kid comes in to your counselor's office and says, Grandpa made me grab his proboscis, you call CPS. You call CPS immediately. Yo. How's your week been, Adrienne? Grandpa's almost ready. He's almost finished. Well, sort of. Ah. He's almost as big as his shell now. He has a face, and he can talk pretty well, and almost has legs. I see. As before, I have put down the story she told me as best as I could. Once again, Adrienne told me about growing her grandpa. Anything good? Nothing good? Go cleaning up some trash. We gotta stop throwing our trash down in the basement all week long. There's gotta be a better way. Oh, Grandpa loves a pita. It's a little sandwich wrap for Grandpa. You know, he loves that. He's watching his TV. He's watching his football. Make Grandpa a little sandwich. Take him over his beer. Grandpa loves that. We'll make him a sandwich. Who gets all the research materials into these? All clean. Meaning. Oh, look, we got it! Grandpa, what's the meaning of life? Grandpa? Gramps. Grandpa. Grandpa. He'll let us know. I think Grandpa's going to be great at answering those kinds of heavy questions. Nothing? Not a... Come on. No garbage. Everything else is filling up with garbage. Oh, it's a new bulbous growth. Something slithering. Ugh. Oh, we'll get to you later, little guy. Give you a little pet. Right into the lunchbox. Hell yeah. Did we clean this one? Yeah, this was the painting pile. Gotta get them all cleaned up. Can't just leave all these little dead friends around. Oh, they're so slimy. Hope I brought some hand sanitizer down here with me. So slimy. Hell yeah, a bar of soap. Just like the goblins. It's the human candy bar with the bubbles. Grandpa, I made you a soap sandwich. It's in pita. You love a pita sandwich. Grandma says the wraps are healthier for you, Grandpa. You didn't tell me it was all clean. There it is. Got another bulbous growth here. I am running out of Purell from cleaning all these bulbous growths out. Grandpa, can you not keep these to yourself? If you grew these in your cell, you could cut them open and eat them on your own. Then we wouldn't have to waste so many of them dying out here. Oh, look at his little face. Little guy. Little. Boop, 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 boop. Alright, into the lunchbox. I got more trash to clean up so they can just squirm around in the lunchbox. Do I then put my own food in there? Am I carrying around little tumor creatures and rotting fucking moldy pears in my lunchbox and then going and sticking my own sandwich in them? Looks edible. Grandpa might eat this. Symbol. Alright, Grandpa. Here we come. Oh, the apple. The apple looks nice. That doesn't look disgusting like many of the other things. like an entire jackfruit? The game developer might be confused as to how big a jackfruit is. They're not palm sized. I understand if you're getting the Trader Joe's like frozen curry or something. You may not be aware that jackfruits are not palm sized. Oh, that's right. We got soap to feed him. Let's stick it in this pear. Grandpa! Grandpa, are you hungry? Oh, poor Grandpa. Alright, Grandpa. Grandpa, do you want some soap? Here, olfactory the hell out of that. Ugh! Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Grandpa. Grandpa? Grandpa, I brought you a kiwi for your scurvy. And I brought you a little guy. Yeah, wave them, Celia boy. There's that proboscis. Alright, what'd you throw up this time, Grandpa? A whole flashlight. Grandpa! Grandpa! Is this like a party trick? Did you swallow that battery and put it in the flashlight in your stomach? That's pretty cool, actually. Good job, Grandpa. Guess that means we're going to the spooky corner. A classic of alchemy. On the virtue of the prudent, when dealing with devils, seen or unseen, the splendors and terrors of God's creations inhabit the world, both seen and unseen. And just as one will not grapple with a lion, lest they be a fool, one will not approach a being of the mind or aether with foreknowledge thereof. There are beings with no form, hiding between towering columns of air, and only appearing by slipping into the heart or mind of evil and unclean men. But still there are more beings which straddle the realm between these seen and unseen creatures, feeling through the air to see the heart or mind of men. It is only by God's grace and his angels and servants crushing these beings under heel that a magician might compel them to the magician's will, and so a magician must be perfectly clear and unerring in intent and ritual granted to us by God, or else these devils, seen or unseen, will devour them, that being their nature. On the nourishing of devils of a particular type. Certain devils of a particular nature are nourished by the element of fire, others by attention and prayer given to their idols, still others by stranger and more obscure means. By God's grace, the requirements for nourishing a devil as part of a contract only requires a token of these givings, that is, a symbol. If a devil hungers after flesh, and would strip a man to his bones in its devouring, the devil's hunger and nature which thirsts for flesh can be held in abeyance in the ritual act of giving blood in only a few drops. However, the contract must be completed in full, for if the magician errs and does not provide in the devil instruction and guidance, the devil, once objured to do no harm upon the magician, will return to its devouring nature. Oopsie poopsie. Hey, but we found another doll! We can feed it Dad now. We can feed it Dad now. Oh, good thing we wrote this down. 3, 2, 3. 2, 4, 5. Biohazard! A photo of your father as a young man. Got anything else in there? Nothing good. Time to glue them together. Aw, Grandpa's gonna love this. I'm so excited for him. All right. Grandpa! Grandpa, I'm back. Hi, Grandpa. How's the old proboscis? Oh, Grandpa. Grandpa, put that away. All right. Here you go, Grandpa. All right. Grandpa. Grandpa, should I talk to you before I do this? All right, I'll talk to you before I give you the picture, Dad. Hi, inner Grandpa. Oh, you look much better now. You got little arms. All right, Grandpa. All right, Grandpa. Tell me about your little friends. Grandpa, why are you eating your little tumor buddies? Oh, look, you got glasses. I love when I grow my glasses right out myself. Ah, you're asking about my little friends? Well, yes, they come from me. They grow around me in pockets of flesh and protoplasm. Think of them like dreams, maybe. I'll explain. Have you ever had a dream that was sort of like a bunch of people, places, and events you experienced all mixed together and jumbled up? It's a sorting through and disposing of the refuse of the mind. My little friends are like that, refuse. And in ridding myself of them, I am casting off the excess material I did not use in developing life forms. Anyone who comes close to me, well, they are my eyes, my nose, my skin. Their thoughts become mine and shape what I make. However, when I was alone for so long, I didn't have a lot of people near me. What you are thinking and expecting of me is shaping what I'm saying, how I'm saying it. Do you understand? And so, because I did not have enough input from my surroundings in order to put the material to use, the material falls off my body, crawls away, and usually dies. I am able to make the most of my material when someone is looking right at me, projecting who I will be, like you are now. What you are thinking and expecting of me is shaping what I'm saying, how I'm saying it. Do you understand? Cool, Grandpa. Can you tell me more about the biohazard bin now? Ah, you're asking about the medical waste bin. I believe it's locked up. I heard them punch it in the code. That's fine, Grandpa. We'll get through this. Many times as they placed part of the burnt-up, dying self into the bin, they often forgot what the code was and had to go check on the wall where they were always taping up sheets upon sheets of information, so much that the new papers would cover up the old. What do you think you would find in there? Well, perhaps something. They did throw trash inside from time to time, bits of paper and so forth. I remember seeing a man who looked quite like me. His daughter had given a photo of her new boyfriend. He threw it in the bin in disgust and joked with his colleagues. May still be in there for all I know. Grandpa, that's no way to treat your son-in-law. Grandpa. Ah, you're asking about language. Well, the more you taught me, the more I was able to learn myself by hearing what you are thinking and saying. A week ago, I could speak a little bit, but I was less of what you imagined me to be, and not quite the talker I am at the moment. Part of what I am saying is, of course, made up of what you expect me to say. You think I'm very comfortable being open and honest with you, because I am your grandpa, and I love you, and certainly that makes up part of what I am. However, there is a part of me deeper down, the thing that created me maybe, that undying nucleus. It is answering for me as well, and is unaffected by whoever might shape what I become with their thoughts. All right. let's address the elephant in the room. What's up with the proboscis, Gramps? Oh, you're asking me about my proboscis. It's just a little tube I keep to help me feed on blood. You could say it's my real mouth, but it's not really a mouth. It appeared because you fed me flesh. One of those little friends you found, I think. You feeding me flesh was a symbol, a proposition, that you wanted to hold up your end of the bargain with regards to your wish. If someone is willing to hold up their end of the bargain and let me feed on them with my proboscis, then they can move on to the next step of the agreement, providing me symbolic instructions. I hope that clears things up. Oh, you have another question? Do I like the blood? Well, my whiskers. I believe they like the blood and the flesh. It's strange. They are me, and yet they are now me? Do you mean not me? Probably means not me. I am bound to them. They control me. And technically, yes, they did make me. However, you were the one who really grew me. In some ways, those whiskers, they are me, or a part of myself, or I am a part of it. That part is much more animal-like. Whatever might happen, know that I will always love you. And because it controls me, I might not be able to act like I would like, even if I do love you. Bye, Grandpa! Grandpa, you're so weird. So weird, Grandpa. Grandpa, let's learn some new words. The wiggle's going crazy. Yeah. Yeah, pretty close, pretty close. Okay, Grandpa. Part of vocabulary and vocalization module J11, metacognition, higher thought. We further delve into abstraction with whiskers, partially, or perhaps for the most part, for the purpose of determining the origin of its recollections that precede its death. Dr. Hart has begun to theorize that in the process of death, the structure of whiskers is compressed back into the morphalic nucleus, and then, later, upon re-establishing the nerve netting that is laced through its spines, is slowly reassembled and redeployed as needed. I do not think this is the case, for I can plainly see that for growth cycles in which whiskers is not receiving our pronunciation and vocabulary lessons, that its capacity general for comprehending its environment is greatly diminished, and in the stimulated conversations we carry out, Whiskers struggles greatly or else does not participate. In any case, we will press on with our lessons and heed Dr. Hart's caution regarding terminating the growth cycle before Whisker's allotted growth time passes, or if it appears to be becoming just a little too competent at appearing human. All right, one more word, Gramp. Symbol. Symbol. Lay it on us. Ooh, yeah, that one was good. You did good there. That one was great, Grandpa. Part of vocabulary and vocalization module J15, metacognition, higher thought. There appears to be nothing written here, or if there was, it was thoroughly erased. Cool. All right, Grandpa, I got another token for you. Yay! I gave him both. Can I talk to Grandpa about that now already? Alright. Grandpa? Grandpa? Oh, that was my back cracking. God bless. Hell yeah. I did it, Grandpa. Thank you so much for completing the contract. I'll definitely help you out with your parents. Just give me a little time and I'll be ready to act. I think you'll be very happy. Your grandpa is very happy too. You did it all by yourself, you know. I couldn't have helped you if I tried. I would have really not liked to. Well, I did not want you to not complete the contract. I would have hated that. But you do understand why I would have had to. Maybe you don't. I don't. She's got no idea. So much of your lives are made up, and yet what comes to pass was always once a fiction. You doubt yourself and your plans before they are even begun. And what you believe, what is in front of you, as if the essence of things was not something you put there long ago. Too much doubt can suffocate even the surest thing. Only the patience and growth and nurturing does something become what it will be. As you soon shall see. Thanks, Grandpa! Grandpa! Thank you, Grandpa! We love our Grandpa! Grandpa! How you doing now, Grandpa? Grandpa appears content and ready to cooperate. That's great. Thank you, Grandpa. Oh, Grandpa needs more food. Grandpa, I'm sorry. I never fed you another. Grandpa, I'm sorry. Here, have the jackfruit, which I, as a child, am somehow holding in one hand. Thank you, Grandpa. Alright, now Grandpa's good. We're Grandpa growing pros around here. Yeah. Grandpa, 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 Grandpa. Gave him a soap sandwich. He gave us a flashlight. Did a fun party trick where we put the battery in it in his stomach. We fed him our dad. We read some ye old textbooks. Ye old. I think we're good. I think we're ready. Thank God we can't read all that burn it before week 5 things. I met with Adrienne one final time in order to see if I could not reach some sort of resolution regarding her emotional trouble. These past few weeks, according to the reports of her teachers and peers, she's shown a remarkable transformation in conduct. I would also add my voice to this consensus. It seems as if in our time together much has changed for the better. I'm not suggesting our meetings were the sole source of her sea change. I wonder what sea change would be. I think something has happened in her home life that has reoriented Adrienne completely. She seems to suggest as much, at least in her usual esoteric way when we last spoke. Something tells me something may have changed with Grandpa. Yes, well, something did change. I will write down her words verbatim here. I went down the stairs like I always did, but I sort of felt like something was different. My parents weren't arguing, and I felt something had changed with Grandpa, too. There was a weird noise, but I wasn't afraid. Eh. Mm-hmm. You look good, Gramps. I think Grandpa had to leave, but before he left, he made my parents nice. He reached inside and changed them. That was my wish. Maybe even what I was growing wasn't really my grandpa. Grandpa left what I was growing behind. He's gone now. He moved quickly out to I don't know where, but I'll always love him. I dismissed Adrienne soon after, letting her know it was a pleasure getting to know her. Despite my apprehensiveness about the speed of the turnaround she made, I cannot see any reason why Adrienne should be considered for further evaluation. And as a counselor for Adrienne, let it be known I believe she's of sound mental and emotional health. I'm pleased to see things turned out this way. If I may make a brief addendum, by happenstance, Mrs. Richardson bumped into the Hart family the other day while running an errand. She told me the parents were a little odd, but very pleasant, and quite clearly they adored their child. And that she had never seen Adrienne happier. I'm waiting. Yay! We got the fulfilled contract ending. Whoop. Hell yeah. And we grew our grandpa, but the best part of growing a grandpa is regrowing your parents on top of your grandpa. Guess I'll take a quick little break. It's a little early to start Monster Hunter, so I don't know. I'll figure something out in the meantime. Little West of Loathing, maybe? I don't know. I'll decide while I'm on a break. Let's get some music. What's over here, Winamp? Yeah, works for me.